Hello, I will be deliberating a lecture on the module named as Overview of Indian Healing Traditions. At the very beginning, it is very essential to discuss briefly about the various sections that are included in this module. To begin with, the first section of my module deals with origin of medicines in India. The second section of my lecture will be centering on the conceptual understanding of healing and diversity of healing practices. The third section will be dealing with the local healing traditions. I will then move on to the fourth section of my lecture, which will focus on the healing traditions across different time periods in India. The following sections of my lecture, that is 5th, 6th and 7th section of my lecture, will be focusing on healing traditions in pre-colonial India, healing traditions in colonial India, and healing traditions after India's independence. Forging ahead, I will shed light on the 8th section of my lecture, which deals with the role of Astavedyas of Kerala. The 9th section of my lecture will hover around healing traditions across India. This section will be followed by 3 more sections, that is 10th, 11th and 12th sections, which focuses on healing traditions in southern India, healing traditions in the Himalayan region and East Indian healing herbalism. Lastly, in the concluding section of my lecture, the various traditional healing systems will be the topic of my discussion. Now, medicine is the science and art of healing. It encompasses a variety of healthcare practices evolved to maintain and restore health by the prevention and treatment of illness. All the human societies have medical beliefs that provide explanations for birth, death and disease. Throughout history, illness has been attributed to witchcraft, demons, adverse astral influence or the will of the gods. We will focus on the origin of medicine in India, for which the first and foremost recognition must be given to Sushruta. Sushruta is regarded as the founding father of Indian medicine, who established a tradition. Sushruta Samhita is one of the most adored classic texts of medicine in India. He identified 1120 diseases, listed 760 medicinal drugs, and said that the surgeon's equipment amounts to 20 sharp instruments and 101 blunt ones. His explanation of how to rebuild a patient's nose has given him the status of the first plastic surgeon. This is an important operation in ancient India. The Atharva Veda, a sacred text of Hinduism dating from the early Iron Age, is the first Indian text dealing with medicine like the medicine of the ancient Near East, based on concepts of the exorcism of demons and magic. The Atharva Veda also contain prescriptions of herbs for various ailments, which later culminated as Ayurveda. As an alternative form of medicine in India, Unani medicine got deep roots and royal patronage during medieval times. It progressed during Indian Sultanate and Mughal periods. Unani medicine is very close to Ayurveda. According to the followers of Unani medicine, these elements are present in different fluids, and their balance leads to health and their imbalance leads to illness. The Indian system of medicine is of great antiquity. It is the culmination of Indian thought of medicine, which represents a way of healthy living, valued with a long and unique cultural history, as also amalgamating the best of influences that came in from contact with other civilizations, be it Greece, resulting in Unani medicine, or Germany, this homeopathy, or our scriptures, sages, which gave us the science of Ayurveda, and even Siddha, which includes yoga and naturopathy. Thus, these are the basic known history regarding the origin of medicine in India. Healing involves a basic logic of transformation from sickness to wellness that is enacted through culturally salient metaphorical actions. Healing is an intensely personal, subjective experience involving a reconciliation of the meaning an individual ascribes to distressing events with his or her perception of wholeness as a person. If we deeply delve into the matter, then we can see that healing is a spiritual course of action that attends to the comprehensiveness of an individual. There are various types of healing practices. Each mode of healing differs from the other according to the type of cultural system present in the society. Common healing practices include the use of medicines that are drunk, smoked, injected, or otherwise taken into the body. Methods of getting things out of the body by emetics, cathartics, purgatives, bloodletting, or surgery. Manipulations of the body through touch and gestures or with specific materials. Diagnostic or divinatory practices that establish the nature of the affliction in terms of its causes, consequences, or some other classificatory scheme, and the use of rituals and ceremonies incorporating words, music, customs, and other theatrical devices that may involve the afflicted individual or the healer alone. Interaction between patient and healer, or the participation of a whole group or community. Healing practices often involve physical interventions, that is, the use of pharmacological active substances in herbal medicines, physical manipulations in acupuncture, massage, that may have unintended effects or interactions with other treatments. It can be seen from the following chart that there are different modes of healing practices which leads to the well-being of the individual at large. These modes of healing practices restore not only the health of the individuals but also their social bond. Let us now focus on the various local healing traditions. In India, those who fall ill can choose between Western medicine and a vast array of indigenous healing methods. They can ease their pain with Ayurvedic oils, nasal douche or enemas, or try their luck with conventional homeopathic granules or naturopathic plant salves. They can also realign their body's unbalanced energies with the help of a therapy prescribed by a Siddha doctor involving vomiting, purging, or hot compresses. Patients can also consult a Unani specialist working according to Greek four humor principles to restore the correct balance of blood, phlegm, and black and yellow bile. Anthropologist Bhiva Joshi has carried out research into the flexibility with which many Indians combine elements from different religions with modern and traditional medicine to treat illnesses based on her study of the Angami in northeast India. According to local custom, they mix Christian animistic, and other religious elements when treating illness. Although Christianity is a long established religion in this region, it has not only superseded the indigenous spiritual world of the Angami. Even today, they still have mediums and shamans who are reputedly able to make contact with the ancient guardian spirits. Some predict the future, while others enter dream or trance states to identify the causes of illnesses and how to cure them. In addition to these codified systems, there are over 1 million community-based traditional health workers, including 60,000 village bone setters, 60,000 herbal medicine practitioners, excluding spiritual healers, specializing in jaundice, paralytic conditions, children's diseases, eye diseases, poison healing, dentistry, etc., and around 7 lakh midwives in India. These are India's traditional barefoot doctors or Nattu Vaidyas. They assist in around 80,000 of all rural deliveries, treat over 40% of broken bones and 50% of snake, scorpion and dog bites. Sophisticated therapeutic techniques include marmam treatment of vital points, Agni and Shara Karma, that is cauterization, Shodhana Karma, that is purificatory techniques, and Rashayana, that is rejuvenative therapy, techniques used in the management of dislocated joints as well as surgical management of a number of conditions. They also treat health problems in domestic animals. Indigenous tribes can play a vital role in the creation of new drugs. The knowledge of medicinal plants these tribes possess is the starting point for modern medicine. Anthropologists have discovered that there remains a vast amount of medicinal knowledge among indigenous tribes around the world that never made it into the annals of early Western pharmacology. As a result, a specialization of anthropology called ethnobotany developed. This is a hybridization of cultural anthropology and plant biology, which leads practitioners deep into jungles and plains to uncover traditional medical knowledge in a process called natural products discovery. Thus, traditional healers came up with a varied array of knowledge in order to heal their followers from the pathology they suffered from. The other types of traditional healing systems will be our point of discussion in the following sections. Healing patterns differs from one society to another according to the cultural pattern of the society. In the same way, we can divide India into 3 different time periods and note that the healing patterns do differ from each other. The 3 different time periods are divided into the pre-colonial period, the colonial period, and after the independence of India. Let us look at how the healing pattern differs from one stage to another in the following sections. From time immemorial, India was the source of plant medicines, and Indian medical knowledge was of interest to European and Asian cultures. Archaeological data suggest that medicine and spices from India were part of early commerce. Greek author Theophrastus, that is 371–287 BC, reported on cotton, banyan tree, pepper, and cinnamon brought back from India by Alexander's followers. Works by Roman writer and naturalist Pliny the Elder and later Materia Medica of Dioscorides, an early text of European pharmacology, listed many Indian medicines that remained staples of European therapeutic regimen for centuries. During the pre-colonial period, early Portuguese and Dutch settlers relied on the thriving medicinal systems that found in India for their healthcare needs. There were very few physicians among the early European settlers, and they did not have the medicines or the knowledge needed to combat tropical diseases. During this period, it was official policy of the Portuguese and Dutch governments in India to actively seek out and document Indian traditional medical knowledge. Several books on Indian medicine written during this period introduced Indian medical knowledge to European medical schools, and botanical medical knowledge of India was tremendously influential in the global context. Works on Indian botanical medical knowledge by Garcia de Orta, 1568, Cristobal Acosta, 1578, and the 12-volume of Hortus Malabarius, compiled by Adrian van Rede, became reference books for tropical botany and medicine for 100 years or more. India was colonized by the British with the help of their diplomatic policy. They ruled India for more than 150 years. As we can see from the map of British India, that how the British made the states of India their colonies one after the other and established their rule. During the early days of the British East India Company, Indian medical knowledge and native physicians were important resources for the colonial establishment. The skills of Indian physicians to treat regional diseases and the rich material medica of traditional medicine put them at an advantage over the newly arrived British doctors, struggling to deal with diseases unfamiliar to them. Later, as the British East India Company established itself in India, many British physicians assumed broader scholarly roles as botanists, foresters, zoologists, geologists, and European medicine came to be looked upon as the dominant medical knowledge system. By mid-19th century, British official colonial policy marginalized indigenous medicine to the secondary status, and later, as the Indian Medical Service opened to accept Indian nationals, students from upper classes, as well as Christians and Muslims entered modern medical colleges, and European medicine became the official healthcare system. India became independent in the year 1947 on 15th August. After independence, the government of India made efforts to recognize Ayurveda, Siddha, and Unani as being at par with allopathic biomedicine. In 1964, a government body for setting norms for the manufacture and the control of the quality of traditional medicinal preparations was formed. In 1970, the Government of India passed the Indian Medical Central Council Act to standardize Ayurvedic teaching institutions, their curriculum and their diplomas. More recently, the government created the Department of Ayush, that is Department of Ayurveda, Yoga and Naturopathy, Unani Siddha and Homeopathy, to support research and development of traditional medicine, and to set standards and regulate the activities related to practice. Today, the general trend is to comply with the norms of modern biomedicine. In traditional medical schools, the vocabulary and diagnostic tools of modern medicine are replacing traditional terms, and techniques and students are increasingly becoming unfamiliar with classical references and methodologies. In the last few decades, there has been growing interest in alternative forms of therapy globally. In addition, attempts by devotees of New Age culture to ascribe new layers of medicine to the concepts of Ayurveda have propagated a simplified and modified version of Ayurvedic culture and practice. While this has stimulated the development of tourism for well-being, leisure, Ayurveda in India, with spas and hotels offering different kinds of simplified treatments for many in India and abroad, these commercialized variants have come to represent Ayurveda. There are attempts by biomedical and Ayurveda researchers to correlate Ayurvedic understanding of the nature of disease with modern biomedical concepts. The materia medica of Ayurveda has attracted the attention of researchers and commercial concerns in India and abroad interested in identifying active molecules and manufacturing commercial versions of traditional formulations. These novel demands, along with renewed popularity of traditional medicinal practices within India itself, have created conflicting conditions for traditional medicine in general and for Ayurveda in particular. Kerala has been through the ages an integral part of the Indian subcontinent. Its history is a part of the general history of India, and its culture is one of the major streams that have enriched the composite culture of the country. The Astavedya culture flourished between the 13th and 17th centuries with generous royal patronage that nurtured scholarship and scientific research in medicine as well as in other fields. There were originally 18 Astavedya families in Kerala, but the number today has come down. Each family developed its own specialized treatment procedures and passed it down from generation to generation. However, there are other versions explaining the origins of Astavedya families of Kerala. Ayurveda, the 5,000-year-old holistic system of healing, has 8 specialized branches that correspond roughly to 8 branches of Western medicine. Ayurvedic physicians or Vaidyas who are equally proficient in all the 8 branches are known as Astavedyas, for Asta means 8. Ayurveda, or the science of life, is rooted in nature. Between the 6th and 7th century, it is believed that Bhagavata, an Ayurvedic physician from Sindh, came to Kerala in quest of rare and valuable medicinal plants. His arrival triggered a new dynamic medical culture, and the traditional healers of Kerala adopted his work, Astangardayam, as the foundation of their system of medicine. They continued to draw on regional folk and medical practices too, and with their deep knowledge of the 8 branches of Ayurveda as described in Astangardayam, these healers became the Astavedyans of Kerala. The hereditary Astavedya Ayurveda physicians of Kerala are among the small group of traditional medical practitioners who have endeavored to retain the scholarly study and practices of their ancestors. With changing social structure and the norms imposed by the government regulations, Astavidyas are striving to adapt their practice to contemporary standards. India is a land of culture. It gives shelter to nearly all the religions of the world. There are numerous tribes who are present in India since time unknown. Due to all these factors, India has a deep-rooted tradition centering on the healing practices. People in the present century too goes in for healing practices when they find no other ways to heal themselves. The healing traditions in India are thus divided into three main parts in the following sections. Traditions of ancient civilization and knowledge, much of which is common knowledge in the state of Kerala regarding the nature of health and wellness, are prevalent in contemporary India. We can learn from these traditions on a variety of levels to address a number of contemporary needs in health and wellness for both people and planet. In the south of India, the two main traditional healing systems practiced today are Ayurveda and Siddha. Siddha mainly predominates in the southern western Ghats region of India. In addition to these main learned systems, however, there are a multitude of diverse tribal healing systems throughout the south. In a study by Pesak and others, it was found that healing is manifest with both spiritual and herbal practices. Some healers assume both roles. Most healers see approximately 20 patients a day, though one healer asserted that 200 to 300 patients report to his dispensary on a daily basis. The healing sessions usually range from 20 to 30 minutes, but tissue damage usually takes more time as it requires manipulation. They require a rather strict dietary regimen, which, if not followed, may result in continued sickness or relapse. They administer herbs, metals, minerals, steam bathing, certain medicines orally and through the nose, and they practice a number of manipulation techniques, including the marmam practices. Healers agreed that the process of teaching one to become a healer takes 6 to 7 years. Herbal healers are considered to be specialists and may refer patients to other healers of different specialities. Healing traditions in the Himalayan region. Across the entire Himalayan region, folk healers have a remarkable knowledge of herbs, gathered through generations and passed on through years of apprenticeship. The traditional healers in the region have been developing the healthcare traditions through constant experimentation and years of experience, which is rooted in understanding and realistic considerations. Traditional wisdom of Himalayan communities is passed through proverbs, folklores, legends, customs, and myths. According to Pankaj Gupta, indigenous healthcare traditions in the Himalayan region have two treatment methods: natural and supernatural. The natural method is indicative, whereas the supernatural stream is etiological. The symptomatic way involves identification of disease by examining the symptoms, followed by management using natural medicine. The supernatural methods allocate precise causes to disease. However, the cause or etiology is considered different from modern medicine. According to the folk beliefs, the cause could be anything like wrath of deity, evil spirits, or sorcery, black eye, violation of taboos, and so on. In the central Himalayan region, a magical therapy called Jagar is practiced against diseases. According to people, this is the greatest cure for many non-curable diseases, especially the psychiatric disorders. Jagar is generally organized at night and takes 1 night or 21 nights, depending upon the severity of the wrath of the local god. Himalayan people consider that diseases are caused by discontentment of local deities, and hence they treat them accordingly. For treating such diseases, priests or mystic healers play a significant role. The mystic healers explain to people the cause of disease and provide remedial advice. If the cause is any spell of an evil spirit, the healer treats the patient with the help of hymns and supposedly drives away the spirit. Such magico-religious ceremonies can be seen in any Himalayan village, even among the educated classes. Thaudam, a traditional Himalayan therapy, is practiced in the rural Himalayan region for liver troubles, stomach troubles, as well as backache. Thus, the sustenance of indigenous system of medicine depends on the accessibility of resources and is practiced among all Himalayan communities for curing various types of health disorders. The use of medicinal herbs is probably as old as humankind. When humans first appeared on this earth, the planet was already covered by an infinite variety of plant life. It is natural to assume that plants were not only eaten for food, but were also used as a source of medicine. Herbalism dates back to 5,000 to 6,000 years ago. India's herbal tradition is almost as old as that of China. India developed its own practice of medicine called the Ayurveda, meaning the science of life. This practice was developed from the Vedas, Indians' 4 books of ancient wisdom. The oldest book, the Rig Veda, dating back to around 2500 BC, contains amazingly detailed descriptions of amputations and eye surgery. There are also herbal formulas derived from 67 different healing herbs, among them senna, ginger, and cinnamon. One of the herbs described in the Rig Veda, snake root, that is Raufolfina serpentina, contains an active ingredient, reserpine, which is still used in modern medicine to control high blood pressure. Throughout the centuries, successive invaders added new herbal practices to Indian medicine. Major influences came from the Persians in 500 BC and from the Mongols in the 14th century. The latter carried with them the medical knowledge of Galen and Avicenna, which became known as Unani. In the 19th century, the British brought Western medicine to India with a vengeance, closing all Ayurvedic schools in 1833. Luckily, the ancient knowledge survived. Today, an estimated 70% of Indians and Pakistani still consult Ayurvedic physicians and use the healing herbs prescribed by them. Ayurvedic medicine emphasizes that good health is the responsibility of each individual. Ayurvedic medicine emphasizes holistic treatment, combining appropriate remedies for the body, mind, and spirit. This can include diet, herbs, light, fresh air, physical exercises, sensual pleasures, and meditation. Ayurvedic medicine stresses the importance of chakras, these energy centers in the body. The chakras follow a straight line down the center of the body, from the crown of the head to the base of the torso. Ayurvedic practitioners link the chakras to various organs and glands. Chakras can be stimulated by using associated herbs externally or internally. East India herbalism is one of the most popular area on which numerous research on traditional healing are carried out in the present century. There are different traditional healing systems. Each type of healing system has got a unique role to play in order to restore the health of the individuals to its normal state of being. The major traditional healing systems are firstly Ayurveda. Ayurveda is a classical system of health care originating from the Vedas, documented around 5000 years ago, and currently recognized and practiced in India and many states of the Indian subcontinent. It is one of the oldest healthcare systems that take a holistic view of the physical, mental, spiritual, and social aspects of human life, health, and disease. The treatment approach in Ayurvedic system is holistic and individualized, having preventive, curative, mitigative, recuperative, and rehabilitative aspects. The preventive aspect of Ayurveda is called Vidya-mitra and includes personal hygiene, daily and seasonal regimens, appropriate social behavior, and use of materials and practices for healthy aging and prevention of premature loss of health attribute. Ayurveda holds the strength to treat diseases from holistic angle in accordance with the body-mind constitutions and other psychic psychological attributes of the patients, and as such is proven to be effective in the treatment of chronic, metabolic, and lifestyle diseases for which satisfactory solutions are not available in conventional medicine. Secondly, yoga. The word yoga comes from the Sanskrit word yuj, which means to unite or integrate. Yoga is about the union of the person's own consciousness and the universal consciousness. It is primarily a way of life first propounded by Patanjali in systematic form. The practice of yoga have the potential to improve social and personal behavior and to promote physical health by better circulation of oxygenated blood in the body, restraining the sense organs and thereby inducing tranquility and serenity of mind. The practice of yoga has also been found to be useful in the prevention of certain psychosomatic diseases and improves individual resistance and ability to endure stressful situations. Yoga is a primitive, preventive, rehabilitative, and curative intervention for overall enhancement of health status. Thirdly, the Unani system of medicine originated in Greece and passed through many countries before establishing itself in India during the medieval period. This system is based on the teachings of Hippocrates and Galen, developed into an elaborate medical system by Arabs. It is based on well-established knowledge and practices relating to the promotion of positive health and prevention of diseases. The system of medicine was documented in Al-Qanun, a medical Bible by Sheikh Bu Ali Sina, and in Al-Hawi by Razi, and in many other books written by Unani physicians. The literature of the Unani system is mostly found in Arabic, Persian and Urdu languages. The Unani system is based on the humoral theory, that is the presence of blood, phlegm, yellow bile and black bile in a person. The temperament of a person can accordingly be sanguine, phlegmatic, choleric and melancholic depending on the presence and combination of humors. According to Unani theory, the humors and medicinal plants themselves are assigned temperaments. Any change in quantity and quality of the humors brings about a change in the status of the health of the human body. A proper balance of humors is required for the maintenance of health. Fourthly, Siddha. The Siddha system of medicine is one of the ancient systems of medicine in India, having its close bond with Dravidian culture. The term Siddha means achievements, and Siddhas are those who have achieved results in medicine. The Siddha system of medicine emphasizes on the patient, environment, age, sex, race, habits, mental framework, habitat, diet, appetite, physical condition, physiological constitution of the diseases for its treatment, which is individualistic in nature. Diagnoses of diseases are done through the examination of pulse, urine, eyes, study of voice, color of body, tongue, and status of the digestion of individual patients. The strength of the Siddha system lies in providing very effective therapy in the case of psoriasis, rheumatic disorders, chronic liver disorders, benign prostate hypertrophy, bleeding piles, peptic ulcer, including various kinds of dermatological disorders of non-psoriatic nature. During the last 4 decades, there has been continuous development in Siddha medical education, and this has led to the establishment of the National Institute of Siddha at Chennai, and is thus thriving in the modern century. Fifthly, naturopathy. Naturopathy is rooted in the healing wisdom of many cultures and times based on the principle of natural healing. Naturopathy is cost-effective, drugless, non-invasive therapy involving the use of natural materials for healthcare and healthy living. It is based on the theories of vitality, stoichkemia, self-healing capacity of the body, and the principles of healthy living. Naturopathy is a system of treatment, simple natural treatment, and also a way of life widely practiced, globally accepted, and recognized for health preservation and management of illnesses without medicine. Naturopathy advocates living in harmony with constructive principles of nature on the physical, mental, moral, and spiritual planes. It has great promotive, preventive, curative, as well as restorative potential. Naturopathy promotes healing by stimulating the body's inherent power to regain health with the help of 5 elements of nature, that is earth, water, air, fire, and ether. It is a call to return to nature and to resort to a simple way of living in harmony with the self, society, and environment. Naturopathy advocates better health without medicines. Sixthly, homeopathy. The physicians from the time of Hippocrates around 400 BC have observed that certain substances could produce symptoms of a disease in healthy people similar to those of people suffering from the disease. Dr. Christian Friedrich Samuel Hahnemann, a German physician, scientifically examined this phenomenon and codified the fundamental principles of homeopathy. Homeopathy was brought into India around 1810 AD by European missionaries and received official recognition by a resolution passed by the Constituent Assembly in 1948 and then by the Parliament. The first principle of homeopathy, similia similibus curantur, says that a medicine which could induce a set of symptoms in healthy human beings would be capable of curing a similar set of symptoms in human beings actually suffering from the disease. The second principle of single medicine says that one medicine should be administered at a time to a particular patient during the treatment. The third principle of minimum dose states that the bare minimum dose of a drug which would induce a curative action without any adverse effect should be administered. Homeopathy is a method of treating diseases by administering drugs which have been experimentally proved to possess the power to produce similar symptoms on healthy human beings. Many surgical, gynecological and obstetrical and pediatric conditions and ailments affecting the eyes, nose, ear, teeth, skin, sexual organs, etc. are amenable to homeopathic treatment. Behavioral disorders, neurological problems and metabolic diseases can also be successfully treated by homeopathy. Seventhly, Soya Rigpa, commonly known as Tibetan or Amchi medicine, is the traditional medicine of many parts of the Himalayan region used mainly by the Tibetan people. Soya Rigpa means science of healing, and the practitioners of this medicine are known as Amchi. It is believed to have its origin in India. Soya Rigpa is a science, art and philosophy that provide a holistic approach to healthcare on the basis of a principled understanding of the body and its relationship to the environment. It uses diagnostic techniques based on the creativity, insight, subtlety and compassion of the medical practitioner, and it embraces the key Buddhist principles of altruism, karma and ethics. According to the Amchi system, proper alignment of the three humors, 7 body constituents and 3 excretory products in the state of equilibrium constitutes a healthy body. Any disequilibrium in any of these energies leads to disease or ill health. Amchi system is based on the following 3 principal energies, that is bile, wind, flame. The diagnostic techniques in Soya Rigpa include visual observation, touch and interrogation. For treatment of health problems, the system makes use of herbs, minerals, animal products, spring and mineral water and spiritual power. The medicines are used usually in the form of decoctions, powders, pills and syrups. Therefore, systems of healing according to the place where it is practiced and by the ways by which it is practiced. I hope my lecture on overview of Indian healing tradition have been beneficial in enriching your knowledge with the basic details of the healing patterns present in India. Thank you.